Good morning, Raptor freaks. This is Alexiot. It's Saturday morning, and today we are reacting to a close loss to the Brooklyn Nets last night at Barclays Center, and also previewing a game in Miami today at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're playing the Miami Heat and Kyle Lowry, so a lot to do today. So yeah, I got to the spot a little early and starting a little early again. On game days, I think I might make this a thing just because I'm anxious to start the stream. Honestly, I don't know. I'm ready, and I'm like, well, they're there. Why don't I just start? Jeez. So G came in and last night after the game, he said we gave that game away. And the Raptors are now 0-4 with Danica Mosier as our ref. Yeah, that is true. And let's get it right off the bat. The referees were a factor last night. There was a bit of James Capers was the travel police last night, if you didn't notice. Right off the bat, from the beginning of the game, OG Anunoby, a travel. Now, this is the thing. The Raptors do those travels all the time. They do stuff like that. These are travels that everybody in the league does to a certain extent, and they let them get away with. And I'm worried at times that the Raptors are a little too loose with their handles and traveling and doing different things, and maybe they need to tighten up. Well, James Capers was sending that message last night with the travel calls. We had 4 of them last night. That's insane. Usually, you normally don't even get any. But getting 4 travel calls for 4 turnovers from different players in different places, that really was a factor in this game last night. And then also, I have to say, the referees gave a lot more free throws to the Nets over us, and that in fact was major part of the difference in the score. Is that they got way more opportunities to shoot free throws. And in fact, I saw a drive to the basket and a lay-in by OG Anunoby where he obviously got swiped and it was right there, and they did not call it. So there is your ref manipulation right off the bat for the game last night. Calling a bunch of travels on us all of a sudden out of the blue. And yeah, sure, technically they're travels and they're the right calls, but he was really calling it by the book, James Capers. Sure, yeah, he wanted to show that yeah, he's going to do that. And those are turnovers that we suck. They're not good turnovers because the referee is forcing them. And then the whole thing about the free throws. That was obviously a foul on OG when he made that lay-in in the breakaway. And yeah, he probably should have gotten an extra point. And there's a point shave right there. So ref manipulation was fully in effect last night. Now, once again, it's crazy how accurate I was. James Capers was not our friend. Danica Mosier was not our friend. But the middle ref was our friend in that game. In the midst of it all, Sean Corbin was actually showing that he is very much an ally of the Raptors in some ways. And I figured out last night that he has a personal friendship with Pascal Siakam. The way that they were talking to each other and joking around and smiling with each other made me realize that there's a friendly relationship between Sean Corbin and Pascal Siakam. I'm all about that. That's great. That means that he has respect for Pascal and his superstarness, and they should, because the man looked like Jordan at times last night. I'm telling you, there's only a few players in this league that can get into kind of a mode where they're unstoppable and they give you Jordan vibes. Kawhi Leonard is very much one of those guys in this league, and Pascal Siakam is also, because he can just operate, do whatever the fuck he wants at times. He wants to go pick that spot. He wants to turn around. He dissected them like a surgeon last night. Once again, Pascal masterful with a triple-double. One of very few basketball players in the history of the NBA to get a stat line like he did last night. Is a super impressive performance by Pascal. And in his first 2 games of the season, he has looked like a top 5 NBA player in a lot of ways. And it's too bad that that performance is wasted in a loss in some ways, but also very interesting that Pascal's racking up triple doubles a lot more frequently and quickly recently now. He's getting them more often than he did any time in his career. So maybe he's going to get a bunch of triple doubles this year. All of a sudden, it's funny because I heard that he saw his assist numbers after the Cleveland game, and he wasn't happy with how few assists he had. So he very much was trying to get his assist numbers up last night. And look, he messed around and got a triple-double. So obviously, Pascal Siakam's my number 1 star for the game last night for the Raptors. That triple-double performance is this kind of stuff that I expect from him to a degree. That is maybe a little bit above what I expect from him at least. But that is an amazing job. But we can still point to a couple things that were bad about his performance. He missed 4 free throws out of 9, and that was the margin of the loss. Missing those free throws did matter and stuff like that. But you can't get too nitpicky with him because he was absolutely electric, fantastic, unstoppable, and he looked like that guy. He really, really did. Like in the first half, you could easily say that Pascal was the best player in the game with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving out there. But in the second half, those guys did rise up and show exactly who they are. And we have to give a lot of credit to the star power of Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. That these two guys, out of all these recent players, these players that are active right now that are on the NBA 75, these guys are legitimate top 75 all-time players. Kyrie and Kevin. A lot of these other jokers that got picked that are still playing right now, I won't name their names right now. They don't belong on the NBA 75. But Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving very much do. And listen, I'm impressed with both of them. First of all, you can look at Kevin and see, all right, Kevin missed all of his shots in the very beginning and got benched. And that was like, okay, this is good. I was like, yeah, this is exactly what I was hoping. That Kevin could have a bad game. This can make this easier for us. Because there was so much about in the game last night where we should have just had a slam dunk win. And that they were kind of like by the skin of their teeth won that game. Seriously, that we really were the dominant team and we had the game all in our hand and stuff like that. They just found the way to win with their guile of their two veterans like that. Like Kyrie in the fourth quarter was absolutely amazing. He single-handedly helped them win that game to a degree. And then of course the Royce O'Neal 3 at the very end, the dagger, that was a mistake by Fred. And he admitted it in the interview after the game. He's like, I should have never left O'Neal. But when you were in that situation, what do you expect Royce O'Neal to hit that 3 to win the game? No, you don't. So I don't know. It's tough to say. It's just unfortunate. That dude could have easily bricked that shot, and the game would have been a lot different last night. That was a true dagger, and it came from a guy that I forgot they had picked up. I didn't even talk about him in the preview yesterday, Royce O'Neal, because I thought he'd be a non-factor. But he's actually a pretty good starter for them last night. In fact, I was very impressed with Royce O'Neal and Nicholas Claxton. Claxton has grown. He's not this spindly, skinny kid that can kind of be pushed around the side. He's actually playing with a lot of toughness and was very much a factor for them in the middle and stuff. Much more than Ben Simmons, honestly, in some ways. I think Claxton was more important to them. So Isaac Campbell's here. Good to see Raptor Freak Isaac Campbell. Any bench production and you win the game. Starters balled out. Bring in Boucher, Otto, or Porter, or Otto or Precious, having a decent one, and you win. However, Kyrie was given too much space to create. Okay, a couple of your points right there. I very much agree that Nick Nurse fucked up last night. That he even admitted that he didn't get the rotations right last night. He is exactly right. Nick, what are you doing? You have a bench this year. You do not have to run the starters the whole game like you did. In fact, your strength for yesterday, last night, was that you have a deeper bench, that you have a much better quality of players to 10. And you did not utilize that. You barely played Banton. You barely played Thad. You did not play Precious enough. You need to get that bench in more often. Those starters have way too much minutes for the first night of a back-to-back. And then this is the thing that pissed me off the most. After the halftime, when we came back, the Nets went on a run in the third quarter. We had one of those come back from the halftime flat starts in the third quarter last night. And I know you wanted to get the starters a chance to work through the problems and figure out themselves. Well, I don't agree with that. I do not agree with that at all. I think that you waiting until like 7 minutes into the third quarter to take any of those starters out was a huge mistake. And that was why we lost the game last night. Because what you did was you tired the hell out of the starters in the third quarter. By the 7-minute mark, they were all huffing and puffing. I'm like, get those dudes out of there. Get Precious in. Get Delano in. Get Koloko in. Get your bench in the third quarter. You ran them too long after the halftime, and you tired them out for the rest of the game. They may have performed better in the fourth quarter if you had balanced the bench minutes with the starters better. in the second half. You played the starters way too much in the second half yesterday. And that is a big reason why I feel like we lost. Because one of our biggest things that is on our side is our depth with our energy combined together. And when those dudes are holding their knees and they're tired, and they're obviously tired, I can see it through the TV that they're tired. I'm like, you let them in too long. So that was the place where he messed up midway through the third quarter. He should have started subbing them 3 minutes, 4 minutes into the third quarter, because then you could stagger and keep people like Delano and Coloco and Precious mixed in with a combination of like maybe 2 or 3 others of the starters. But you didn't do that. You played the starters straight up, the 5 of them all together for blocks, and you wore them out, and they were useless at the end of the game in some ways. And that pisses me off, because you did this last year at times. And I don't want to see no carbon copy of last year where you ride these starters so many damn minutes for no reason. Why do you do this? There's no reason to play them 37 to 40 minutes a game. You can balance this way better, Nick Nurse. That second half, you screwed up, overplaying your starters. That they would have had more energy in the last 5 minutes of the game. They did a fantastic job. Don't get me wrong. I mean, at one point, they were down by 10 with 5 minutes to go, and Doug Smith had already put the nail in the coffin on them on Twitter. He's like, they're down by 10 with 5 minutes to go. They're pretty much done. Well, you were fucking wrong, Doug, because they made up that lead for the Nets very quickly. And all of a sudden, it was tied with under 2 minutes to go in the game. So they had their opportunities. They did good at stopping them at times, but they didn't get the crucial stops at the most important times. And the second part of Isaac's comment here, I love Kyrie was given too much space. Listen, you know who was guarding Kyrie late in the game, and he did a very good job for the most part in some ways, was Scottie Barnes. They put Scottie on Kyrie, and they put OG on Kevin, and it was actually very effective at shutting them down in the fourth quarter for a while. Kyrie was not able to do some stuff when Scottie was guarding him. And that was really cool switch. And that's what I'm saying. We have a couple of guys that are plumbers. Will come and try and cut the water off. Well, they didn't cut the water off soon enough or effectively enough. Because Kyrie, listen, he made some shots with guys like when OG was on him and he fouled him that little bit and he made that shot. That was insane. Nobody makes that kind of shot with OG that close to them. That is Kyrie Irving. And just who he is. I mean, I don't have any respect for him as a flat earther, anti-vaxxer knucklehead, just this close to being QAnon. No, but on the basketball court, I respect him because he made some crazy ass shots with people in his face that normal people will not ever make. And that is very, very much special for him and Kevin. Kevin hit that dagger at the top of the key too. You know, there were a couple things we could have done way better. And that's the thing. They have tape to watch, things to clean up, and things to understand that every little part of the game adds up to the formula of the outcome. That every minute, every possession, every turnover, every decision y'all make adds up to the shape of the game and how it turns out. And, missing free throws, that's important to not miss them. Not having turnovers, really valuing the ball. Like Fred told Scottie early on in his NBA career, really value the ball. Take care of it because it's precious, like your teammate. You need to take care of it and really value it and stuff like that. So, yeah, I really disagree with Nick Nurse not using the bench more in the second half. That is one of the biggest things I think that led to us losing. Was him not mixing and matching Precious and Coloco and Delano more in the second half with those guys and stuff like that. It was really, really bad. Tom Duke is here. Good morning. On to Miami, who have lost 2 tough games while shooting well versus Boston and Chicago. Kalo in the Heat will demand our best performance. Let's go Raptors and get that W, stay above 500. Yeah, we don't want to have a losing record. We're getting thrown in the fire. How many days has this NBA season started? It's been 4 days, and we're having 3 games in 4 days. That is very much grueling. And this is not easy, this schedule, because, first of all, we have a tough game in Brooklyn last night, and we got to go and straight on another game on the road. Meanwhile, Miami's had their first 3 games at home. They haven't had to travel anywhere for the 2 games already against the Bulls, the Celtics, and now they'll play us. So this is really an advantage for them in some ways, even though they played last night also. So they're on a back-to-back also, but they didn't have to travel. So we're going to have to see how this goes tonight. We'll do a proper preview in just a little bit, but yeah, we got to keep our heads up and just keep going. There's not much time to dwell on the Brooklyn Nets game last night. It's time to go right to Miami and play the next one. Cool Boys here. Woohoo, Twitch fam. All right, let's see. Twitch family's in the house. Stink face butt, that like button, and Sweet Chin Music, that subscribe button. Yes, Cool Boy. Thank you for your plug for me and getting those subscriptions up. If you like anything I say on this Twitch or this stream, this YouTube stream, please hit subscribe. Thank you. Cool Boy. Twitch family represent. Good to see you. Fun Guy saying yesterday reminded me of how angry basketball makes me. You're a big dude. I don't want to see you too angry there, Fun Guy. But yeah, it's disappointing, but this is what we have to remember. There's two places you can land with a win and a loss, and you're going to have to get losses from time to time. Nobody's perfect. We're not going to make a break the Warriors record for best season in the NBA and stuff like that. This is what it is. And in some ways, this is a learning experience for a couple of different people in a couple of different places. It's important for us to see this. And plus, we got to realize we're getting our legs under us for the season already. There's some stuff. Yeah, we obviously could have won this game if we had done a couple things a little better. We had some offensive stretches that were a little tough. There was some dumb turnovers. Maybe there was some lapses on defense that we probably shouldn't have done that. But these are all great learning opportunities, and they will learn from this. And then we'll have some get back to get it down. I hate losing to the Nets, and we should have won last night. Yeah, it sucks. Yeah, Tom Duke was just as upset. You know what I did after the game to try and help me feel better was I watched the new Open Gym right afterwards. And they had the episode of Open Gym that came out yesterday is all about the Canada series. They showed the stuff in Victoria. And I think, Tom Duke, you're actually in the episode of Open Gym. If you pay really close attention to when they get off the bus in Victoria, that famous part where they all came off and Scottie was kind of like, hey, you can kind of see, I know where Tom was sitting because I've seen footage that he filmed. And I think you can make you out just for a split second, Tom. So go check out Open Gym. Raptor Freak Tom Duke is on the new episode. I'm pretty damn sure. You could freeze it and you will see him in that crowd. It's funny, too, because they showed the other side and Scottie's coming into the building at Victoria and he's pulling his pants up from behind. But yeah, that was fun to see the Open Gym. Lots of cool stuff. Precious getting lemonade in Victoria. He's a lemonade connoisseur. He's really kind of the star of the Open Gym episode last night. He did a whole thing at Chris Boucher's Slim Duck Foundation thing in Montreal last week, where he interviewed a lot of the players and walked around and just kind of being fun and light. Hilarious stuff from Precious last night and the different things that were happening, him getting lemonade and them talking about walking around Victoria during training camp that week. And just talk stuff about Edmonton, the crowd in Edmonton, and also Montreal. And they even had some footage of the game against Cleveland this week, too. So they put that one together real quick. But the new Open Gym is out last night, and that can help you when you're feeling angry, y'all. Watch Open Gym after a loss like last night, and you'll feel better about the team. Trust me, you really will. And there are a lot of positives to point to from last night, too. We'll talk about them. Naco the Nachos here. Good morning. Save for maybe Ja Morant. Nobody in the NBA played better than Pascal. Precious needs to be better. I don't think it's actually Precious's fault last night. In fact, Nick admitted last night that he did not play Precious as much as he should have, and that he didn't give him enough opportunities to be aggressive and attack the rim. Precious played 17 minutes last night. All the starters played 35 plus. He really needs 20 plus minutes at least, if not 25 plus minutes, in my opinion. He was 1 for 6. And this is the thing. Precious has actually not shot well in the first 2 games of the season. And that's fine. He's going to have ruts and stuff like that. But that's part of why we want to give him the ball and get aggressive and get easy stuff, because then it'll make it easier for him to hit the outside shots and have more confidence and stuff. So in some ways, we want to turn him on by using him more, even if it seems like he's missing a lot. 6 rebounds, 3 turnovers, and just 4 points. It's not the best. He was 1 for 6. But I feel like I said, if he had let him play more in the second half, he may have figured it out. We saw Gary had a tale of two halves last night. In the first half, he was electric. He was so good. Jordan Bolton was bragging on his Twitter that, oh, you guys wanted to trade him. Look at Gary. Ooh, Gary now. And then in the second half, absolutely nothing. Nothing from Gary. Missed everything and just wasn't as effective in the first half. That's too bad, but that's the way it happens. Sometimes you just got it for a couple of quarters and then you lose it by the end of the game. And Fred was kind of the opposite. We didn't see Fred do anything hardly in the first half, but once again, Freddie's showing up big in the second half as the game went on, the fourth quarter specifically, him bombing those threes and Freddie playing so well in the second half. I gave him the second star last night. Pascal's the first star with the triple-double at 37 points, 11 assists, 12 rebounds. 15 of 21 shooting. Amazing game by Pascal. The only thing I could say that I don't like about his game was the missed free throws. And now Freddie, 7 of 11. When is Freddie shot 7 of 11? Not very often. 4 of 6 from three-point range. 7 rebounds for Fred. 9 assists, 4 steals, a block for Fred, 18 points. +3 for him. So Freddie's my second star. And this is the thing that he did last year is he can maybe real quiet at the beginning of the game, the first half, not a lot of scoring from him, but it's like later in the game, he's like fourth quarter Freddie. And that's where he wakes up and he starts really making shots and helping us drive to make sure we win the game. And he very much was doing that last night. He did a good job of it. He was really got us back in the game with some very, very important threes late. And that we had a chance to win the game partly because of Fred. And Fred's just good three-point shooting and stuff like that. Him coupled with Scottie and some of the stuff he was doing, and also Pascal, obviously. But those three dudes really were the guys. And OG had some key threes and stuff like that. After having more of a defensive kind of game for us, he did wake up a little bit offensively late and contributed a bit there also and stuff like that. So Cowboys here. Good to see you, Bradley. Good morning. It's all good. Raptors cult. This was a good loss. It'll just make us use Coloco better, or let's go. All right. Coloco had a mixed bag of last night. Listen, this is what Nick Nurse said after the game, that they were giving him rookie calls. And this is very true. Once again, this is another place where we were not getting respect from the refs. They won't give OG Anunoby an and one when he obviously got fouled on a breakaway dunk on the lay-in. They won't give Coloco blocks. This is what Nick said in the interview after. He said he had like 2 or 3 clean blocks in the game that were called fouls. There's that one in particular on Claxton in the lane that they called a foul on where it should have been a clean block. He said this. He said, y'all need to pay attention and realize that in Arizona, he was doing this already and that this is who he is. So refs, don't give him rookie calls on his blocks. Give him the clean blocks and don't call bullshit fouls on him. This is what Nick said, that they were calling him rookie calls on him because he's a rookie, that they shouldn't have called on him, that they would actually be blocks otherwise. The refs were very much favoring the Nets last night, and they were doing different things to help them, whether it was not giving us and ones with OG, whether it was, calling travel calls, whether it was, not overturning, the challenges didn't go our way. They had a challenge that they went against us. That one was Scottie on the screen with Kyrie. And it was a foul on Kyrie in some ways, but they went and like Steve Nash called the challenge then, and he had it overturned. That was a key play also. And that's what I'm saying. The refs were very much favoring them last night. The only one that really kind of helped us out at times was Corbin. But Capers is not our friend. He is not our friend. And Mosher, she's not our friend either. Now, the refs tonight, they're not much better. And when I tell you guys about them, you're going to be like, oh, this sucks. Because this does seem like we got another ref hit job coming at us tonight. I'm not going to lie. Let's see. Isaac Campbell's saying spicy PG. Yeah, he's more point guard stuff, doing more passing, more assists is always good. Because, I noticed that. He's not passing as much in different places and stuff like that. And now he remembered, oh, I need to do that again, that part of my game. And he did it last night. And there was some really cool passing between different people. It's Pascal out of the double team to Scottie, those little dunks that he got on the side of the basket, that was there over and over again. And that was part of what I was talking about with the Nets. They don't have any kind of good defense down low. They really don't still. It's just we weren't capitalizing on it as good as we could have. And that those dunks and finding people around the basket, we could have done that way better at different times. Now, Pascal finding Scottie like that, absolutely amazing and fantastic. I love that so much. And their synergy was really good last night. It was like the first game was OG and Scottie. Well, last night it was Pascal and Scottie that were really like melding together well. In fact, we saw stuff from Scottie that I knew we were going to start seeing. Stuff that makes you go, what the fuck? What was that? I've never seen this dude do any of this before. He was doing Magic Johnson layups. Yeah, he was doing the little Chris. The little swing layup. That's a Magic move. Magic used to do that all the time. He'd get into the lane and he like to mess up the defense with blocking him. He'd do a little, oh, I'm over here. Oh, I'm over here. I'm over here. Woo! He did it twice. And everybody, I know everybody when I saw it, I was like, wow, Scottie pulling off new moves. And like I said, he's like Jimmy with the guitar. He's not totally doing this on purpose. He's letting his body flow in the energy and the flow of what he's just naturally, instinctually doing. It's not like a premeditated thing. I'm going to go down there and swing the ball around like a fair ride a couple times and put it in. That's just natural instinct. And it could be that he watched Magic when he was a kid and he's just like imitating him. Because he did there were two legends he imitated last night that I absolutely loved. The Magic Johnson layups, both of them were fantastic. And this is what we're going to expect more of. He's going to become a dynamic scorer, and he's going to score in fantastic ways, just like Michael Jordan used to. And people are going to stand up and go, whoa! You know, there's going to be more and more of this as time goes on. The other person he was imitating last night was Earl the Pearl Monroe. Now, Alvin said Curly Neal, but that's Harlem Globetrotters. That's not NBA. Let's talk about the dude that Curly Neal was kind of doing his thing after, and that's Earl Monroe, a New York Knicks legend who had that little do through the legs, everything like that. That stuff he was doing, that do whatever they called it last night, Matt Devlin and Alvin Williams, that do. You know what I'm talking about? When he does all that dribbling and he's going every which way, he can shake anybody with those kind of moves. If he's going to do dribbling like that, that's just not fair to the other people. Because they have no idea what he's doing. He's going to just go, that's Earl Monroe shit. Like Earl Monroe would do that shit and shake people off and just like, woo, lay it in, stuff like that. Well, I love seeing Scottie with that handle and that between the legs crazy dribbling. This bag of tricks that this kid has is insane. I'm telling y'all, it's going to be like Christmas morning every time we watch the Raptors because we're going to get a new present from Scottie and just the physical movement he does. Like they when they make his character in NBA 2K23, they need to give him all the animations. He shouldn't have just certain signature animations for his character as far as the movements, the dunks, the layups and everything. They should give him the whole book. Because in some ways, this dude does everything. He really is an old school jukebox. And last night he was playing some Magic and he was playing some Pearl. And yeah, it was real cool to see. I loved it. I love that Earl Monroe dribbling. What are you doing out there, Scottie? Like, it was so good. So good. All right. Now, Nako's saying Brooklyn did play well last night. They played well in certain ways. And it really was their two superstars were carrying them and very much essential to them winning that game last night. Kevin had a horrible first half, but he woke up later, ended up with 27 points. Kyrie, 30 points. He was definitely the leader for them at a plus 22. Really big time. Patty Mills was understated off the bench. He did hurt us a lot. And Morris, he did what he does. He's not really that important, but it was Claxton, Patty Mills, Kyrie Irving, and Kevin Durant. I wasn't even that impressed with Ben Simmons. I know he did some interesting stuff, and his stat line's pretty good. He had 10 rebounds, 8 assists, and 6 points, 2 blocks. That's pretty good, but he's still, I think he's an idiot anyway. But yeah, Kyrie's handle was impressive too, of course. But yeah, Kyrie's known for that. He may have the greatest handle in the history of the NBA ever and stuff like that. But very interesting game last night. I'm not too happy with the the outcome, but there were some bright spots, and we can see where we messed up in some ways with what happened last night. Very much different than the Cleveland game. They had the experience to try and close out the game and win it out with us, and that's why it was a much tougher test. If the game was close, we needed to blow them out. And in some ways, like this really was a game of runs. You can see how much it was a game of runs last night. We go on a run. Brooklyn go on a run. They go on. We go on a run. They go on a run. We go on a run. They go on a run. And it was really just timing the runs to the right place where we are the ones on top when the clock runs out in the fourth quarter, and that didn't happen. And that dagger by O'Neal was really tough because that would have changed things if we had just gotten a stop on that trip down the court and we came back and we would have been tied. So there was some really bad stuff, really, really bad stuff at the end of the game. It is what it is. They executed better. They had the home court advantage. They had a little bit of home cooking with the refs. That's not a lie right there. Cool Boy saying, are you okay with Scottie offensively right now? 15 points versus Cavs, 17 points last night. Do you expect that's who he'll be second season? Siakam's going to be our number one, and the second and third option scoring will vary. That's true. Well, it could be Scottie sometimes. Like, his stats last night, he's my third star of the night. So it's Pascal, Freddie, and Scottie are my 3 stars of the night. Scottie was 7 of 14 from the field. That means he shot 50%. He made 1 of 2 of his threes. He hit both his free throws. 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, a block, 17 points, a +2. That's not a bad stat line, but you're right. He can be increased as far as like channeling water towards him on the offense and letting him try and score more often. But he really is still kind of a hybrid between what he was last year and his new emerging role now, which isn't really totally fully clear. He's last year was really just play, enjoy yourself, and let whatever comes to you comes to you. This year, there is a little bit more directing the ball to him and letting him the offense go through him. So there may be in a bit of an adjustment period at the beginning of the season right now where his stat line looks a little bit more like last year and like his scoring, but I think it's going to go up. I think you're very much right, Cool Boy, with where you're going with the direction of your comment, that we should expect Scottie to stop averaging around 15 to 17 and get right up near 20. Because he can do it, and we're going to want to do it because it's just about letting him be efficient at it. Like, sure, he makes some crazy moves, and sometimes he's not successful and stuff like that. But he is going to get more and more successful, and he is very unstoppable. There is too many things he can do too well, and has too many skills and gifts combined, whether it's the size with the speed together and stuff like that, that he's just going to be an unstoppable player in the NBA at a certain point. It's just he's very young. He's very much a Padawan, and he's still trying to learn the force. And as he learns the force, he will get more. He's going to become very dangerous in this league. Let's just put it that way and stuff like that. G saying starter scored 96 and the bench 9. Okay, what did we say yesterday, G? Let's look at how the bench scoring goes last night, and we did get outscored on the bench pretty badly. 9 points for us, and meanwhile they got 20 points off the bench, and we lost by 4 points. That's what I'm saying. Don't go so starter centric this year, Nick. This isn't last year. You have way better personnel on your bench this year. You do not need to do this again this year. Seriously. Get Wancho in there. Wancho didn't even play a minute. You could have played Wancho last night. Some people were saying, why don't you play Justin last night? Last night was kind of the game that you could have played Justin, and he could have been very helpful. Use your bench, Nick. Those starters are great. We know you love them, and you will very much favor them and play the hell out of them. But, let's stretch this out. Because, already last night, you're looking like you're going to way overdo it on the starters, and you don't need to do that. Please, Nick, play those bench guys so they can have an opportunity to outscore the other team's bench. I don't blame the bench. They didn't get the production. I don't blame them. I blame Nick for not playing them more, because if you add up how many minutes the bench actually played last night, it's not that much. So sure, you can expect to get 9 points from the bench. Nick, seriously, think about your bench production and scoring and allow for them to get the basket and score. Because you're not letting them play enough. That's what happened. This is very much like last year. And I don't want to see games like this where we lose a close game and then I see that nobody on the bench got minutes hardly at all. I mean, that 6 minutes, Banton 13, Achua only 17, and Koloko 20. That's not good enough. These guys need to play so they can score and help the burden and stuff like that. So, yeah, let's keep going. That was definitely something that was a factor that we need to look at. And we were right. We looked at it last night. We said it yesterday, and it happened this way. And it is a factor that points to why we lost, not utilizing the bench. Guardian saying Chewy struggled, so did Trent. Yeah, Trent struggled late, and Chua. Listen, he's the kind of player that I don't care if he's not playing well on offense. He'll do so much more for you on the court, even if he's not scoring well. He's so good in all kinds of other ways, as far as defensively, rebounding, just being active, just being all over the place. You can play him, and if he's not scoring that well or he's shooting bad, I don't care. Keep playing him because he's the kind of guy that'll do good things for us no matter what. And I wish Gary had played better in the second half. That really would have helped us, but he couldn't hit anything in the second half. And people were calling him out for it. And I don't agree with that either, because he is going to be this kind of guy that's either hot or cold. And, that streak shooters are like that. We're going to love them when they're on, but when they're off, yeah, let's not dump on him, because there is a yin to yang to it. And, the cumulative over time, we want him to have confidence and feel good about himself. So maybe he shit the bed in the second half last night. There's no reason to get down on him. We need him ready for tonight. So let's not go after people after games. Like, I know Raptor fans like to do this, go after people after losses. There's no reason to do that. One person I'll go after right now is Nick Nurse, and that's because he didn't play his bench. That really is the biggest faux pas last night. Seriously. Let's see. Fun guy saying Kyrie, Cook, and Van Vleet was the difference. Laugh out loud. Gary should have been the primary defender. Well, they switched Scottie to Kyrie at a certain point, and it was working really, really well. Kyrie's just that guy, dude. I mean, he is so hard to stop. It's like, we can talk about it, but we have no idea what the realistic basketball things you have to do to try and contain Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant on the same team are. We have no idea how difficult that is. It's insanely difficult. It's so difficult. And we had some success against both of them at different times. Kevin early and Kyrie at different times was be able to stop. And he was getting fouls. He was in foul trouble, actually. Kyrie was in foul trouble. And that play where he should have got that foul with Scottie, that was a turning point that helped the Nets. That Steve Nash challenged that and they overturned it. That really hurt. We also saw last night the first take foul of the season. And I was like, when I saw it happen, I was like, that's a take foul. And it was kind of, nobody knew what was going on at that moment. I called it right then. I was like, ooh, there's a take foul. And then they're like, some confusion. And they said, yeah, take foul. And then they shot the free throw and they missed it, obviously. But whatever. But yeah, I don't understand why certain people are shooting techs and extra free throws that we get. Like, I don't want to see Delano and Precious taking those shots. I know they're better free throw shooters this season. But you have Gary Trent Jr. on the court. He should be taking the free throws. That's what I'm saying. We get extra technical free throws and those kind of stuff. Don't put Delano in there. Don't put Precious in there. I know maybe you're trying to build confidence for those young players. Fuck that. Put your highest percentage free throw shooter for the extra shots when you can choose any of them on the court. Gary Trent Jr., Fred Van Vleet. Those are the two. And if Pascal next, those other young guys, they were 50-50 shooters last year. Why are you letting them shoot extra free throws right now, Nick? It doesn't make any sense. Precious should not be taking the take foul free throw. I'm sorry. He should not be. Unless the rule says it's the person involved in the play gets it. But I don't think, is that what the rule is? That when the person who's in the take foul is the one who gets that one free throw? If that's the case, then I see why he shot it. But otherwise, I'm like, I saw Delano shooting an extra free throw on technicals the other night when we got the 3 technicals in the confusion with Boston the other day. He shot the free throws and he made them, and I was glad. But I was like, that's not who I would have shooting the free throws if we could choose and stuff like that. So, all right, let's keep going. G saying, but bench in 20 minutes scored 9 points. They were not good. That's not totally their fault. Seriously. That is not totally their fault. You can't go by that. You got to give them a chance. They didn't play in the second half. Pretty much everything they did was in the first half and stuff like that. You got to give them a little bit more leash. I'm sorry. And like the way it is bad is, you get all right. You start the starters at the third quarter, after the half, play them like 3 to 4 minutes, and sub somebody, just two guys off the bench. Bring in Precious and Koloko 3 minutes into the second half, and bench some of those starters right away. So you're resting them for the end of the game because he ran them out of gas over the first 7 minutes of the third quarter. He did not sub anyone. He let them play. He was trying to let them figure it out, is what he was doing. They jumped all over us. They ate up our lead that we had from halftime, and they got their own lead. And he wanted them to have a test to try and overcome it with what them. Fuck that shit, Nick. Bring in fresh energy. Bring in some other guys that are fresh to keep pushing that energy. That's what we want to do. We want to have the best energy all the time. You need to sub a lot and often. Stop fucking doing this shit where you play like the starters most of the third quarter. That is my biggest problem with last night. Is that, like I said, at a certain point, 7 minutes of the third quarter, all of our stars look gassed. And at that point, they're kind of gassed for the whole night in some ways. So I don't like that. When Pascal looks tired, that's crazy because this dude has a motor that doesn't never get tired. So you played them too much, too long into the third. So sub them early in the third, start that rotation, mixing with the bench with the starters. He went with that solid starting five way too much last night. I hate that. Don't play them all together all the time. You got to mix and match. Bench with the starters, Nick. Oh my God. That's the thing I'm going to get the most mad about today. Because I don't want to get mad at the players. The players did great. And even the bench. Like, we can say they were shit, but they weren't. And maybe this is indicative of his coaching style, that he just makes the bench shit because he ignores playing them. That I don't want our bench to all of a sudden become not very like confident in them because he's not playing them enough to give them the confidence in the game. That was half the problem last year in some ways, is that he overplayed the stars too much and the bench didn't get enough to feel good about and stuff like that. So I want them to get in there more. Just do it, Nick. You have a good bench. You've been saying it. You don't have the same team last year. You can count on some of these guys to come in and do good things. Come on. Cool Cat saying, good morning, Raptor Free Crew. I wanted the W just for Pascal's hard work. Yes. We sorely missed Boucher last night. That is true. This is a really good point, Cool Cat. Our bench was off. They gave up at least 13 points. Oh, well, lessons to learn. Yeah, we gotta have some duds. We have to have losses to learn from them, and hopefully, this one loss leads to like 5 wins later in the season because of lessons learned last night. Seriously, Nick, get this bench lesson out of the way right now. This is the other thing that's so dumb about how you rode the starters. We have a back-to-back. We're playing Miami now. Why'd you wear them out last night? Why did you wear them out last night? You should have been balancing the bench with the starters just because we're in Miami today and stuff like that. Nako's saying Boucher plays, we win. Yeah, he could have been an X factor in the game last night that would have really helped us. He probably would have neutralized Claxton. The Claxton was a problem around different places. The experience of Koloko could match him in certain ways. And in some ways, Claxton was taking it to Koloko because he sees a similar type player who's behind him coming in the league. And he's like, I want to show something where I've grown, and this is a rook and stuff like that. So that really was a battle between Claxton and Koloko last night. The Claxton was winning, and that's not Koloko's fault. He's a rookie. He's in his second ever NBA game. But Boucher versus Claxton, yeah, that would have been a different story, them head-to-head. If Boucher had Koloko's minutes last night and they were doing that battle, I think Boucher would have out-vetted him in certain ways and stuff like that. So I think Nako's right. G saying Nets fans are showing a lot of respect to Raptors and Siakam. This is good. And this is the way it should be. Like, you're better than Cleveland fans, obviously, Nets fans. So respect. And I have to respect your two greats, honestly. I wish y'all were more dysfunctional last night, but you weren't. You did some good things. And I can see some good stuff with some of the role players you guys got on there. I know in my preview I was very harsh about your bench, but there are some players there that did surprise me. Royce O'Neal in particular is somebody that I forgot you guys got from Utah, and that he is actually going to help you guys a lot. But yeah, I didn't like seeing Joe Harris show up and hit a 3 right away, but that's all he did. And Patty Mills is going to be Patty Mills. And it's going to be scary when Seth Curry comes back also. The Nets are dangerous, but I still think we're way better than them. And I still think that the possibility for them to have everything fall apart because of dumpster fire culture problems is very, very much a very, very inevitable kind of thing at some point this season and stuff like that. In fact, when the game started, I looked at Kevin's face and said, that man is sad. He's not a happy person. You can tell Kevin Durant is a depressed person. He's not happy. And you can just tell from his body language and the way he looks in his face. He's not a happy person, guys. You really can tell and stuff like that. Yeah. Good morning from Monique. Good to see you. G saying good points on the staggering. Yeah, the staggering is so important. Just do it, Nick. There's so many cool combinations. We want to look at all the different things you can do with the lineups, with different people together. Well, we know what the five guys can do together that start together. And I don't like it. I don't like it, especially when Claxton was having some of the best part of his game during the period of time where we didn't have a real center out there. You have Ken Birch. He's healthy. He did not play the game last night. Why wasn't Ken Birch at least played just a little bit? He could have helped at some point. I didn't like, why did you go 9 deep? You could have gone 10 deep. You could have gone 11 deep. You could have gone with more guys and more looks in different places. That was our strength against the Nets. They have no bench. They have superstar heavy at the top. We should have been going at them with our energy and our depth, Nick. Why not? That's our strength. Guardian saying Scottie needs to be more aggressive offensively. Yeah, that's the thing. He's going to have to learn how to switch it which way, whether he's going to be that facilitator, passer, or he's going to go get his own and stuff like that. That's going to be maybe one of the toughest battles for him, is to make that split-second decision about when to be greedy or when to be nice and give it up. I think he'll get better and better as his whole career. This is the thing. Sky's going to get so good. If last year was his floor, he's going to get so good, guys. He's going to be like a 25-point scorer at some point. He could very much average a triple-double at some point in his career just because of the way he is. It's just he's got to figure it out. He's very much a young fawn, like a deer that's really figuring out his legs underneath him and how to get around. So the sky's the limit. And there's going to be some very interesting things. But him being more aggressive on offense more and more is going to be happening. Trust me. We've seen it already this year. He's way more aggressive this year than he was last year as far as going to score for himself. Fun guy saying, man, Birch, Boucher, and Otto would have been so nice. I know Birch was there. He was dressed. Birch was available. He could have played him. Nick, come on. That's why Fred and Pascal keep saying, oh, I'll believe it when I see it, when they say that their minutes are going to get reduced. Because Nick Nurse can't help but play them and overplay them. It's like Fred saying, oh, they're going to cut my minutes this year? Oh, I'll believe it when I see it. Yeah, I understand why Fred says that. Because Nick can't help but play them. He just can't help it. Fred took 11 shots and shot over 60% from the field. And 3, he actually needs to shoot more, maybe 3 to 4 more if he's going to shoot like this. This gives a balance of shooting and passing. Yeah. Well, Fred has this pattern. He showed it last year where he doesn't do a whole lot offensively himself until later in the game. In fact, we'll have games where we don't see him score anything until the second half. This is kind of his thing. But even last night, I was thinking the same thing as you're thinking right here, G. It's like, Fred, go be aggressive and get a couple of your shots early too. And it may have been that Gary really was doing that kind of stuff in the first half very well. And also they were going to Scottie more in the first half also. And that Fred just wasn't the guy. It was Pascal, Scottie, and Gary. And Fred was just kind of out there. And then he took a role in the second half. But, that would have been nice if Freddie could have spread out more of his scoring into the first half in some ways and stuff like that. He did have a very efficient game. For him, that's really good because normally he does not shoot over 50%. And he takes way more shots. So that was really efficient by Fred. And I love it. That's why I gave him the second star. And, I don't have any problem with how much he was used last night. I think that it's about right, actually. It's just that we need to be more effective in using the bench, using more Scottie. Maybe OG should have had more points last night. Maybe he should have been gone to a little bit more early in the game. Stuff like that. But Fred was okay. But, yeah, he could have been more like last year and way more leaned on heavier early in the game. But he's kind of like I'm going to take us home in the second half, especially in the fourth quarter, when we absolutely need to get buckets. It's almost like he's saving himself for the whole game. He's directing things, doing little things, manipulating things in the game throughout it, but then he'll get aggressive and take his own when it really matters and we really need the scoring. That's what he was doing last night. Let's see. Click saying our bench, Shea. I'm not sure what that means. Our bench, Shea. You want Shea Gilgeous for our bench? Ooh, I don't like that. All right, let's keep going with these here. I really like all the stuff. A lot of stuff happened in the game last night. Some good stuff. Jimmy Pope's here. Good to see Raptor Freak Jimmy Pope. Happy Saturday. Trash calls last night, but I hate to blame the refs. But some of those calls were ridiculous. Well, they certainly don't help. I mean, I will blame Nick first in the way that I have already all through this stream already. And I won't go on ad nauseum about that. But the refs factor is a little on down low and a little insidious. And it really is what I pointed out earlier. It's the travel calls. It's the not giving us and ones when they're obviously there. And just little favoritism and stuff like that. Obviously, challenges not going our way is also part of it also and stuff like that. None of the challenges have gone our way so far this season. We've challenged and we've gotten decline. And when the other team challenges, they've gotten theirs in favor. And that's going to be interesting to see how often that happens because once again, those challenges are subjective. They could very much go either way. And sometimes that is a nod to whether the refs are helping somebody or not. Because a challenge that you lose a timeout, you lose a lot with it. It can be very detrimental to lose a challenge. And when you win a challenge, it is very much a swing. And that was very much the case with that screen that Scottie set and Kyrie was trying to get around it. That call is 50-50. They could have just kept it the way it was, the way that Donica originally called it. Was the way they could have done it, but then they went back and changed it. And that's kind of bullshit. But that's smart by Steve Nash, first of all, and in that. And the other play that would really kind of piss me off was the out of bounds play where Ben Simmons held the ball from the referee. That should have been a tech on him because the call was for us. But then he held it to give them enough time to review it and say, no, actually, it should be the Nets ball. That kind of pissed me off because he actually, when he held the ball away from the ref like that should have been an instant tech because you can't do that. You can't say, no, I'm holding the ball to hold up the game. That is fucked up what he did in that moment. And he kind of strong-armed to get the ball for the Nets in that moment. And it worked. So those were two kind of plays that were kind of like the Nets strong-arming the refs. That challenge call with Kyrie Irving and Scottie Barnes, and then the inbounds, the out of bounds play where it was the wrong call, but they were, in the old NBA, they would just cover it up and go so quick that we just got the ball and inbounds it. Well, Ben Simmons held the ball and made them overturn it. And that was interesting right there. Monique saying not having Chris Otto hurts. Yeah, Chris specifically. We don't know what we get from Otto yet. So we can't really say that missing him would have helped or anything like that because we don't know what he adds yet. But Chris, we know what he adds. And that would have been very helpful, that energy, rebounder, all over the place kind of guy and stuff like that. Like I said, yeah. G saying clean steal from Fred at the end. Yeah, that was another bad call. That was a very bad call. And we can look at it over and over again. That was a bad call. So, yeah, we have a lot of evidence that the referees sucked last night and that they did help the Nets win and stuff like that. Let's see. Nako saying, seen a lot of people say Kyle should be bought out. You mean Kyle Lowry on the other team? Yeah, listen, Miami fans aren't happy with him. They're 0-2. They have not started 0-2 in forever. In fact, this is like they broke a record for their team with this 0-2 start. They're really going to want to win today. They're kind of set up to win. This is kind of a trap game for us. This is a night of back-to-back. We had to travel. They've lost 2 games in a row. They've been at home all these games. And this is the thing. They're getting 2 Miami refs today. There's 2 refs from the city of Miami reffing our game tonight, y'all. And the ref report, I'll do it right now. Here's your ref report for tonight. Raptors at Miami Heat. Number 1 ref is Tyler Ford. Tyler Ford is from Lima, Ohio. He is a young ref. We have a very young ref crew tonight. No refs over 10 years experience. All refs are under 10 years experience. That means we may have some really bad refereeing tonight, y'all. That's what I'm saying. Sometimes not having experience is bad because that means these dudes don't know what they're doing completely. But Tyler Ford is the most friendly ref tonight. He has a 69.2 win percentage for us. He is the crew chief. And like I said, he only has 9 years experience in the NBA. as a ref. His favorite TV show is Yellowstone. He likes to remember the Titans. His favorite meal is steak. He would like to visit Ireland. Our second ref is Miami native, went to Florida International, is a Miami boy all around. I actually went to Miami-Dade Community College, Jacyn Goble. We got one of the Goble brothers this tonight. Jacyn is the one that we don't like between the two of them. Jacyn is the worst one, right? Let me see. Which one's the worst Goble? No, he's the better Goble. And he's okay. We have a 56.3 win percentage, but it's fishy because he's from Miami. And he's very, very much a Miami dude. He was born in Miami. He lives in Miami. He went to high school in Miami. He went to community college in Miami. He went to Florida International University in Miami. So that's what I'm saying. That's I know he lives down the street, NBA, and you're like, okay, let's get Jacyn to ref this game. But yeah, that's sketchy to me. And then the third ref is also from Miami. His name is Suyash Mehta. And Suyash is the youngest ref in this crew, obviously. He's only ref for 3 years. This will be his fourth year. And we have a losing record. In fact, we have a worse record under Suyash Mehta than Scott Foster, Ed Malloy, Tony Brothers, all these people. We have a 42.9 win percentage when Suyash is refereeing a Raptors game. So we have 2 winning refs, but 2 Miami refs also for this game against the Heat today. So we're going to have to pay attention to these Miami refs and see if they're going to give the Heat some home cooking. Yeah, we don't like that. We don't like that at all. That's what I'm saying. So, yeah. Let's see. G saying that dunk at the end by Scottie shows his athleticism. That's very much like that Orlando dunk where he just flew through. Yeah, and he almost got it there in that time. Like, you look at how long that clock was. It was like 2 seconds. He got up the court that quick. Amazing. And it also shows his drive to want to win so bad. So many games on 2K this summer with Scottie on Twitch where they lose a disappointing game, just like the game against Brooklyn last night. And when I saw Scottie, how he reacted that game, he really fucking cares. And if you saw his face after the game last night, you could tell how mad he was. He hates losing so much, guys. You don't understand. Like, when he loses games, he really gets angry. Like, he gets angry like Fun Guy gets angry. And that's a real one. And this is, I totally know how he was feeling at the end of the game. And that frustration was shown in that dunk right at the end of the game. That very much was an embodiment and physicality of how he felt about losing that game last night, was driving that ball and dunking it just a split second too late for it to count. In fact, if he had made that dunk, he would have covered the spread. Once again, we're thinking about the spread at the end of the game with Scottie Barnes and dunks and stuff like that. But he didn't cover the spread this time, which is too bad, because I would have loved for us to cover the spread at least, even if we lost and stuff like that. But yeah, he was pissed. I know exactly how he feels when he loses 2K games that don't even fucking matter. They're in virtual world on a PlayStation. And of course, in a real game, when this kind of thing happens, because he's looking at all this and he's seeing how close the score is, and they really are trying to get to the win. And they were so close. They had it tied in under 2 minutes. They could have won the game last night, which is better in the last 2-minute execution. But like I said, there's a lot of contributing factors that led it to that, where we're talking with the refs, staggering the bench with the starters, all kinds of different things, stopping Kyrie, stopping Kevin. There's all kinds of different factors that led up to what happened, stuff like that. Jimmy Pope saying, imagine calling a charge on the game leader and points on a blatant flop. Have some damn respect for the best guy on the floor. Yeah. Well, hopefully Pascal will be getting more respect from more and more games like this. Like, that is an impressive triple-double. And it really is good that the Nets nation, the Nets players, and some of the media down south are paying attention to Pascal all of a sudden because of his performance last night, because it really was that way. There were moments in the middle of the game where Pascal was very much like Jordan, very measured and like picking his spots and taking his time and just taking them apart. Like, whether it was just like those little shots within the 3-point line where he just stopped, pull up, or whether just like he was just killing them and taking them apart. That really is the kind of scorer that Jordan used to be. It's like, I'm going to just beat you in isolation and you can't do a damn thing about it. And he was doing that. Now, Kyrie did a little of that on the other side of the ball also last night, where he was absolutely unstoppable and making shots in people's faces and stuff. But Pascal had that going too. And I love that. And they need to respect him more with different calls, whether it's and ones and just like that kind of stuff with charges and stuff like that. He needs to get more favor because he is a superstar. He is just as good as Jayson Tatum, if not better than Jayson Tatum. That's what I'll say right now, every day. G saying, yes, Jimmy Pascal does not get respect still. How is he always in foul trouble? He wasn't too bad last night. He had 4 fouls. You're right. He did have foul trouble. I don't really care about the foul trouble on us. In fact, they kind of like divvy up the fouls on us. And I don't really care. Like if they play with 3 or 4 fouls and somebody gets fouled out, it is what it is because we have such good balance and stuff like that. I worry more about like, why don't we go and get Kyrie's 5th foul? Why don't we get him fouled out? He would have gotten his 5th foul on that play with Scottie, and that was a big turning point. I can't say it enough. Now, Christian had 5 fouls last night, and that wasn't very fair. They were really calling him like a rookie. And like Nick said, some of those fouls should have actually been blocked shots. So the refs were not our friend last night, and it showed. The only one that was our friend was Sean Corbin. And like I said, did you guys see him talking to Pascal and them smiling and going back and forth? That's what I'm saying. Some players and refs have relationships, and that may have been part of the reason why Pascal got a little bit of respect last night is because Sean Corbin respects him. It's obvious. Kareem saying, as a couch potato, we could be coach potatoes too, because we sit on the couch as potatoes and we coach also. As a couch potato coach, I like that. He said couch potato coach. I would always call a timeout after a 10-0 run. I don't care if I'm up 30. Yeah. Yes, Kareem. Yes. 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 I don't care if he has this mentality of like, let them figure it out for themselves. They'll get it figured out. Dude, maybe they need a break. Like they need a rest, just a breather. Forget about them just trying to figure it out and play through it. Give them a rest all of a sudden. Because sometimes those kind of runs is that's what's indicative of, that they're gassed. Sometimes I feel like you're not paying attention to how tired your players are on the court, Nick. And seriously, if you see them holding their knees, they're holding, whatever. There's no reason why we should have tired players out there ever. There is somebody who's fully energized on the bench that can play those minutes and do it not that far off from the quality of what they're getting from the starters at this point. That's what I'm saying. Energy over talent in some ways. Get those fresh guys in over and over again and keep people fresh, because if I see dudes out there and they look exhausted, I'm like, you're failing, Nick Nurse. You're failing, because there's guys that are obviously dog tired, and it could be this early season conditioning. I don't give a shit. You overplayed your starters like you did last year and you got a loss for it. That is really what I'm going to say about this. Yeah. Let's see. Jimmy Pope saying that last 2-minute report is going to make me laugh. Yeah. Yes. It'll be interesting. We'll have to see what it says. It's probably going to say that they fucked up that Fred call for sure. Tom Duke saying 100% I am in that, and you can totally see me. Pause it. Go. All right. So Tom went and found it in Open Gym. I said, Tom Duke is on Open Gym this new episode. You can pause it and you'll see him. He's wearing an orange shirt with a black jersey over it or something like that. He's wearing something like orange with his hat, and you can see him because I remember the angle he was from the bus. When I saw his clips on his YouTube channel, I was like, Tom's over there. If they shoot the camera angle that way, you can see Tom. So that's awesome. Tom Duke, congratulations. You're on the new latest Open Gym episode. What a Raptor Freak achievement. I was on an episode of NBA Inside Stuff once. This is a cool story. I was going to work at the Air Canada Center in like 2001, and it was before they built real sports or any of that stuff in Jurassic Park. It was just a massive parking lot at that time around the arena. The parking was out there. They didn't build any of those buildings between the CN Tower and the Air Canada Center at the time. So I'm walking to work, and it's a snowy winter morning or afternoon getting into the game. And Tracy McGrady and Ahmad Rashad were sitting outside the Air Canada Center on a bench at the parking lot having a discussion, getting filmed for Inside Stuff. That great show. You guys know Inside Stuff from back the NBA Inside Stuff with Ahmad Rashad. Well, they were interviewing Tracy in his rookie year or something like it was not his rookie year. It was one of his years in Toronto. I think it was, it was maybe like it was 99, 2000, right around then. And I'm in the background walking behind them. And my friend in Florida was watching it, and he's like, "Dude, that's Alexi." He's like, he saw me on Inside Stuff, and he called me, and he's like, "Dude, you're on the latest episode of the NBA Inside Stuff with Ahmad Rashad. You're behind them when they're interviewing, and I can see you." I was like, "Yes, I'm on an episode of NBA Inside Stuff with Tracy McGrady." That's so cool. But that's awesome. Achievement unlocked, Tom Duke. And actually, I have some very special news this week. Actually, I want to tell y'all about something, and I want y'all to be real quiet about it. This is something I don't want you guys to share with other people. This is an exclusive for Raptor freaks that follow my channel, that have subscribed, that have watched me to an hour point at this stream. And I don't want y'all to repeat this. I don't want y'all to tell anybody else this information, because I want this to be more intimate, and I want this to be more for people like us out there. Scottie Barnes is having his meet and greet this week, guys, and it's going to be on Thursday night, 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. at 300 King Street East. They're doing a Subway sandwich pop-up store, and he will be there. And I am going to go there on that Thursday night, and I am going to meet Scottie, and I'm going to tell him I'm the Raptor Streak. We're going to get this cleared up, Tom Duke. I'm going to go do it in person. And I'm going to bring my jersey down there. I'm going to get it signed, and I'm going to tell him I'm Twitch family. I'm Raptor Streak, and we'll see what happens. So hopefully I will get to meet Scottie this week, next Thursday. So y'all know too, if you want to come to that, I'm telling you now, but don't tell too many people, because I don't want a mob down there. I think that they're very selectively marketing this right now, because a lot of people aren't talking about this in the media or any other places. But Scottie's doing a meet and greet next Thursday night in between the Philadelphia games here at 300 King Street East for Subway. So yeah, y'all found that out exclusively from me. Maybe you saw the ads, but shh, hush, hush. Let's not tell a lot of people. Let's keep this not in the mob scene. We know Scottie doesn't like huge mobs, and I think he's selectively sending the ads to certain people and stuff like that. But I want y'all to know, because y'all are real ones, and maybe we can meet up down there and go see him together as a group. I'm going to meet down there at 4:20. That's my usual meeting time, 4:20 p.m. Thursday afternoon, 300 King Street East. Yeah, they're doing a pop-up for Subway, and he's going to be there. So, yeah, there's a little news right there, exclusive to y'all. Shh, don't tell people, because we don't want mobs. We don't want too many people knowing. Scottie Barnes meet and greet, Subway, pop-up shop. I had the bowl last night before the game. I got the Subway bowl that he's advertising in his commercial for Subway right now. It's pretty damn good, the rice bowl. Bowlware. Bowl over. Yum. Yeah, I had it before the game. We lost, though, so I'm not going to get it before the game again. The pregame meal is always important, depending on whether we win or not. So I'm not eating the bowl before the game anymore just because we lost, stuff like that. So there's a little tip. Yeah, shh, don't tell people about Scottie, okay? In the meet and greet. All right, let's see. Yeah, Tom Duke. You can see Tom in the open gym episode when they're coming off the bus. So yeah, y'all, you can see him. So proud of Pascal. He is proving haters wrong. Yes, G. Pascal, you are a badass. You keep going. You are unstoppable. Tom Duke saying top 5 player, best player last night. He really was in the first half. Closing the game, I can't say he was, though. Kyrie was the best player closing the game. He just did too much in the fourth quarter to make sure the Nets won. Monique saying the camera lighting for open gym was fire, man. That open gym episode is really fun. We see more behind scenes of Media Day and the photo shoot. There's a very interesting story about that picture with OG and Masai Ujiri. And that whole exchange when OG's coming into the room when Masai's in there and stuff. You know what Masai was doing in that moment? He was talking trash. He was actually saying stuff to OG from inside that box. He was saying, "Oh, yeah, were your pictures any good? I'll bet they're any better than mine. My pictures were probably better than yours." He's talking all this trash to OG. Masai just being a jerk, like winning kind of cocky guy. And like OG came in and started talking trash to him. And that was the whole thing about them like talking, and then him sitting down and getting the picture in the chair with Masai standing behind him. That's the whole story, was that Masai was talking trash to him about picture day. And OG came back at him talking trash. It's that kind of like fun relationship where it's like, dude, this is the boss, but he's just having fun and messing around and being playful with OG. That's so awesome. I love that so much. Monique saying, we wish we played Cam. I think that was a mistake. I think it really was. It could be that Cam isn't 100%. He was dressed and he could have played, but maybe he was like calculating. It's like, maybe I won't play Cam still. But I think you messed up. I think you should have played at least Kem or Wancho also in the game last night. Yeah, Nick, I really dropped the ball with the bench. Stuff like Shane Waters, good morning. Good to see you. G is saying we are 0-4 with the lady ref. Yeah, that's indicative of different things. It could be, yeah, maybe she is a hit job ref. I mean, the ref tonight, the young ref tonight is not that much better than her, Suyash. So yeah, we have. I don't even know what our exact record with Suyash is. Let me just look it up. I'll look it up real quick. Suyash Mehta. Suyash. How do you spell his name? Suyash. Okay, our record with Suyash exactly is 3-4. So we've had 7 games with him. And we've won 3 of the 7. So we're 3 wins, 4 losses under Suyash Mehta. So there you go. All right, let's see. Cowboy saying Coloco's block was nice to see. Let's go. He should have had more. He only had 1 block last night. He should have had 3 blocks last night. As Nick said, they called fouls instead of blocks. Cool Cat saying on Twitch, Scottie Barnes, he and his dad went to his first NBA game and saw Magic Johnson was inspired. Magic Barnes came in in the second half. Really? Did he tell us that story at some point? I didn't see that one that time. So Scottie told I don't remember hearing this story. It must have been maybe one of the times I wasn't there. I could see this that he went to a game with his dad and saw Magic play. That doesn't totally line up or jive. There's no way that could have happened. You know why? Because Magic was retired before Scottie was even born. So that there's a fallacy in there in that way. He watched him on TV, but I don't think he actually saw him play. Like they had tapes. Like they would watch classic games and stuff like that. Because Magic retired in the early 90s and Scottie was born in 2001. So I don't see how this is possible as far as that. But he definitely watched him like old clips, but he definitely didn't see him live because Magic had that one little comeback after he announced that he had HIV, and he only played for a little bit, and he played like an all-star game, and then he retired again. So he was done by like 94 or 95. So there's no possible way that Scottie watched Magic Johnson play in real life. There's just no way, unless it was a Legends game or something like that. Tom Duke saying Scottie has a great left hand and he uses it so smoothly. Well, that's one of the things that Kyrie and different people are talking about him and why they like him, how ambidextrous he is. They didn't realize how ambidextrous he is. He can go with either hand and stuff like that. That's pretty cool. And that is really a strength for him. And he's one of his hands, he's not used a whole lot. So he's like, when he uses it, it shocks him when he does good things with it because it's not his natural one to go to. But when he does go to it, he's like, whoa. Because sometimes I think he's more left dominant. But when he does go right, it's kind of like that's kind of weird to him in some ways because he does go left more often, I think. I maybe have that reversed. I think it is he's more left dominant, but then he'll go right sometimes and it shocks himself. Jimmy's saying really need Boucher and Otto back. Yeah, I think you're right. It'll help. Cool Cat saying Coloco got rookied by the refs. The Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Year, and all of his blocks are fouls. BS. Give him some respect. Yes, Cool Cat. And Nick called him out on that. Hopefully him saying it. And once again, Nick does this in a way that it doesn't get him in a fine. He does it in a fine way because he doesn't openly really just criticize the refs. He just said basically that Coloco was getting rookie calls and a lot of his fouls were actually blocks. But he's not really criticizing the refs directly. So I don't think he can get in trouble for that. It's a very interesting way of doing it kind of on the side. Monique saying Pascal's still early, but if he plays like he did in the second half of last season, the entire year, he's 100% ahead of Chris Bosh, no question. You're talking about as in the greatest Raptors of all time argument? Man, I already have him in the top 4. There's only 4 guys that are the greatest Raptors of all time, and that's Kyle, DeMar, Pascal, and Fred. I don't even put Vince and Kawhi up there. These are the real ones, the real top 4 greatest Raptors of all time. Kyle, DeMar, Pascal, and then Fred Van Vleet. That's the order right there. And then you can put Kawhi number 5 just for being a champion and all that kind of stuff. That is really my ranking right there. Let's see. The older ref was on one to get some glasses, man. Can't see. Yeah, James Capers is not our friend. He's not our friend. He's established NBA, establishment NBA. And yeah, he was calling it in a way that was not helpful to us in different ways. The travel calls were really like the sign right away. When he put that travel call on OG right away, it's like, oh, fuck, he is doing it. He's going to be doing a ref hit job. Because then we saw more of these travel calls at different places. And sure, we could tighten it up. And this is going to be in the film session today. The travels and Nick saying, yeah, you guys can't do this. I know you can get away with it sometimes and they won't call it. But sometimes they'll bite us in the ass if you don't just do it fundamentally right all the time and stuff like that. It's that kind of thing. And yeah, he felt like doing it because he's like, oh, this is an opportunity to jump on the Raptors. See, we have to be absolutely perfect. You know, that Kyrie could probably get away with some of these crazy dribbles and not get called for it and stuff like that. Other players may be like Kevin, but we won't. Not OG. OG doesn't get any respect. Obviously, he gets a travel call right at the beginning of the game, and he gets fouled, obviously, by everyone. Everybody in the world can see it, and he doesn't get that extra point. So, yeah, James Capers is not our friend, and he is in that group with Tony Brothers and all them as far as things. He's just not as well known a name. Cool Boy saying, when the Nets have Seth Curry back, they'll be even more deadly shooting the ball. Raps bench last night, 3 for 13, 0 for 3 from 3 against the Cavs, 3 of 19. Are you okay with the bench play? I just want more of it. Cool Cat. It's not their fault. I don't think it was their fault last year, even. I mean, they were shittier players, less talented, and they didn't give them as much production. But I really think they could have worked out through it. Much how he lets the starters work through things. You need to let the bench work through things, Nick Nurse, because we need a bench this year. You cut off the bench, you constrict things to the starters, and you choke out the life of the bench. That's what I'm saying. Maybe Eric Flynn is a little bit correct in this notion as far as like you overusing the starters and not using some of those guys on the bench. And that's what I'm gonna say. I won't blame the bench players. Seriously, I think that Precious needs more usage, even if he shoots shitty and stuff like that. You know, if Chris had been playing, maybe he would have ate up more of the minutes and been more played more. But it shouldn't be just that way. Just because Chris isn't available, do that with Precious. Make Precious Chris this game or Coloco or somebody. They just needed more minutes and less minutes for the starters, so they're not so gassed. Cool Cat saying, my only thing with Scottie Barnes is I need him to be high energy from the jump. He turns it on third and fourth. I want the Pascal Scottie duo with Fred Van Vleet, the floor manager, with his off-ball three-pointers. Pascal hit a three last night, looked really good, hit a couple threes, I think. Actually, how many threes did Pascal get? That's important. He got 2 threes. Because this is the thing, he's not even showing this enough yet. He's a way better three-point shooter this season. And that more the Pascal shoots threes, this is going to be really good because he's going to make them way better percentage than last year. And it's going to help open up the other stuff we're already seeing even more so. Like, I hope they cheat off him and dare him to shoot the threes because he's going to bomb them right in their face and stuff like that. As far as Scottie, I thought he had good energy throughout the whole game. He was doing active things at different times. Once again, he's doing important rebounds at times. His stat line is 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, and a block. So he's giving us a little bit of everything. I honestly want his assists up. Like, if he could get 5 assists a game, every game, that would be really good. And he shot well. He made both his free throws, which is really important last night in a close game. And he was 50% shooting. So I'm not upset with Scottie. And like Nick said about Scottie in the last day or so, he has these periods of time where he's not doing a whole lot, but then he wakes up in the game. And maybe that he's not very good in the second quarter, but then all of a sudden he's gangbusters for the second half and stuff like that. We need to allow him to have the biorhythm as a young player, learning and getting his feet under him and learning how to play in the NBA, to go through those waves, the ups and downs and stuff. Because the waves are up way higher than they go down to the trough, like down to the bottoms. They're much more crest than trough, going down, stuff like that. So, but I really love, like, once again, Pascal, Scottie stuff together, playing off each other is all very impressive and good. Cool Boy saying, I thought maybe Nick was giving up on bench play because they haven't shot the ball well, but I agree. We got to keep them involved. I'm sure bench play will come around. Yeah, I think it was just old habits showed up last night from last year. You can't do this like last year, Nick. You cannot. Like I said, I really think it's bad planning considering we're playing Miami tonight. That you really overplayed the starters last night. Really not smart. Monique saying Pascal NBA, run it back. I love that Pascal and a Pascal, Pascal NBA, Pascal NBA. Isaac Campbell saying bench needs to be used differently. They weather the storm for starters to give rest, but they are generally role players and used individually as plug and play, not subbed as a block. Yes. And that was part of the folly as last year. Is like he really did try and make starting unit, bench unit. Don't do that. Mix and meld. There's so many great combinations. Scottie and Delano should be playing together for parts of the game. They have a great synergy together. Precious should be out there with Pascal. He should be out there with them. Wancho should be playing with Gary Trent Jr. He needs to mix them up together because then you like don't have all just bench or all just starters. You can have it a nice like even throughout, like the quality of the lineups. It's like Matt Devlin and Alvin Williams would say at times during the games, like, oh, well, with Pascal and Fred out, OG and Gary need to step up and take care of the scoring, stuff like that. Well, that's what we're saying. You can have like maybe always have either Pascal or Fred out on the court, always have either OG and Gary out on the court, but then have like two bench players or three bench players with those two guys. And then Scottie instead of one of the bench players, something like that. Just mix them up and stuff like that. I really think that's important. Isaac saying Downton and Malachi need 8 to 10 minutes between them on small guards and man-to-man only. I think that, we could have saw some Malachi last night. That might have been helpful. Malachi might have been able to guard Kyrie okay. I don't know. Maybe they know that he can't guard Kyrie, and they're like, we don't want to even use him against Kyrie. That is really where Malachi could have been helpful. It's like, can you slow down Kyrie Irving? Let's put you on him for a while. You're at least fresh legs and fresh energy. Let's give you a chance. If you fail miserably, we'll yank you right away. Something like that. Doughton, the same thing. In fact, in the Open Gym episode, Doughton has a part where he's looking at the graphs. He has more greens on his graph. And he's like, oh, this means I've been doing more eagles. I've been doing more good defensive stuff because, some people were questioning his defensive ability in Summer League. Well, he's really taken the side of defense as being something he's really keen on and working on as a player because he's on the Raptors now and he sees how much we care about it. And it's the whole section with him on Open Gym talking about this is hilarious. Because, you can tell Jeff is really working hard on his defense. Well, maybe he could have played Kyrie pretty good last night. Who knows? We don't know because we didn't try it. So that's what I'm saying. You have these tools in the toolbox. Bring them and use them for the job if you can and stuff like that. Omari's saying, shit sandwich Saturday. Yeah, we are sandwiched in between two really tough games. Thrown right in the fire at the beginning of the season. And this is partly by design. In some ways, this really is helpful that we did Rico Hines. We've had a really good training camp, and we're ahead right now because we really need it because we're weathering a horrible schedule right at the very beginning. I want to win today, and we will talk about this game. I'm going to do the preview correctly for it. Don't worry. We're going to get to that. Gary Trent Jr. has more to give. Just wait and see. Yeah, he's on and off, Monique, and I think you're right. I don't want us to be so reactive in the moment. We got to be serene. We got to have a long-term perspective and stop just like getting so upset against individual players for different things like Gary Trent's second half yesterday. That's so stupid. And I hate when people like Lewinberg and Doug Smith tweet stats like, oh, Gary Trent is 0 for this and has 2 points in the second half. And that's it. Like, people, it just adds fuel to these idiots' fire to like be constructive criticism and talking shit about them and stuff like that. Give him a pass and stuff like that. That's what I'll say. He had a really good first half. And in fact, that first half performance to me made me like, wow, I'm so glad Gary's on our team. And I think most of us were saying that in the first half. It's just he disappeared in the second half. And that happens from time to time, stuff like that. Omari's saying, and congratulations, Omar. I think you're number 1 in the fantasy league this morning after last night. Precious was great on D, but forced it too much on offense. He'll get better when he realizes he's not Pascal. Well, he could be Pascal at some point. Let's not count this out. He doesn't like to limit himself. I think you're right that in sometimes maybe it's like we give him a free reign to do whatever he wants on the court in certain ways, like as far as bring the ball up, attack, do different things. And maybe it's the kind of thing where Nick's got to see, like, all right, you can play still. We want you on the court for defense and rebounding purposes. But Precious, maybe we're not going to try and use you to score too much right now. Like just because you're 1 for 6 so far in this game, and we want to get other guys going and stuff like that. But it's tough. They don't like to limit anybody and stuff like that. But I think he just needed to play more. I don't care if he wasn't playing exactly right. I think it's just the energy and him not being tired and just the plus defender that he is. That's not smart. Why aren't you mixing him in with everybody else? Maybe he could have guarded Kyrie better, because Precious can guard a guy like Kyrie to an extent, stuff like that. Let's see. All right. I love all the comments and stuff, guys. Let's see what Naco the Nacho is saying here. I think this was a good game for Coloco. Not that they're the same player, but good game for Coloco is like a good game from Gasol. It's not even that it's a good game. It's a learning game. And he learned stuff about fouls. He learned stuff about block shots and fouls and where the line is with certain refs and stuff. They weren't totally fair to him. But, he looked – this is the thing. The one thing about Coloco that matters is, does he give us a whole different kind of feel on the court? Yes. Does he make an impact even if he doesn't score? Yes. Does he get a lot of rebounds usually even though he doesn't score? Yes. Does he intimidate shots? Yes. So he has an impact, an unspoken impact, and a tangible impact whenever he's on the court. And that's why the fuck will we play him more in the second half, Nick Nurse? I'm going to keep saying that. G saying, how can they have 2 Miami refs from Miami game in Miami? Well, because they have people from Miami that ref and that these guys actually live in Miami. Like I said, sometimes it has to do with convenience. It could be that these guys are like staying at home. They're like, oh, we're starting the season, but we like the refs to have time with their families before we really get going into the season, and they're on the road all the time. So it could be that they're just kind of letting them have home base. It's like, it's nice. It'd be interesting to see how many Miami Heat games Jacyn Goble has refereed over his whole entire career. It may be very disproportionate in showing that he has been refereeing a lot of Miami games. And what is his percentage for the Miami Heat? Maybe I should look at that right now. Let's look at Jacyn Goble's percentage of games that he has refereed for the Miami Heat and how many they've won. Okay, his win percent, actually, we have a better win percentage under him than the Miami Heat do. So that's actually good. They've won 52.4% under him, while we've won 56.3%. He's refereed 21 games of the Miami Heat in his career, and they've won 11 and lost 10. So he's very even with them. And it doesn't look like he's refereed a disproportionate amount of Miami games over his career. In fact, the team he's refereed the most is the Philadelphia 76ers. So I don't think there's any funny stuff there. We'll have to see. We have a better record under him than Miami Heat. So I guess that's a good thing. Maybe I should start looking at that and comparing that win percentage for our opponent under that referee also, and add that to the ref report. That's an interesting idea. Isaac Campbell saying Otto is a two-way player, not a role player. That's the difference between his potential versus many of our bench players. Nurse expects equal production from a bench role player as versus a starter. Hashtag not sane. Well, that's really closed-minded. I mean, these guys are all two-way players. Precious is a two-way player. Coloco can be a two-way player. Juancho can be a two-way player. It's not the issue about being two-way or anything. I think it's just the drop-off in talent that he really is trying to squeeze the best quality lemonade out of the lemons. He gets the best lemons and squeezes the best stuff, not using the bench lemons. I don't know. I don't agree with this philosophy. I think that this roster has been built to have a very specific advantage in the way that it's built this year, and he's not utilizing it. And that last night he did it. No, stuff like that. Tom Duke saying, "Holy smokes, testing our guys with these Reds for sure. Not worried. I believe we haven't shown up yet like we are capable. Our squad loves winning, so they hate losing just as much." Refs, testing our guys with these refs for sure. Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully these refs won't be a problem, but watch the young ref, Mehta and Goble. And Tyler Ford is a friendly ref, the guy who's in charge. Lolita's here. Good morning, Raptor freaks. Even with the refs miscalled, it was a good game. Siakam was great. We should practice more on the free throws. Yeah, we can blame ourselves for a lot of things. I'm blaming Nick Nurse. We can blame missed free throws by Pascal. He missed 4 free throws, and we lost by 4. There's other things. We could have rotated better. Fred made a mistake. He admitted it in the post-game interview that he left Royce O'Neal when he shouldn't have. When he went to double in that last play, that was dumb. And a lot of people are calling him out for it, and he's owning up to the mistake and stuff like that. So I like that. There's accountability. And that's the thing. It's better than like Russell Westbrook, who's like, no, everything's fine. He's like, he won't look at it objectively and try and correct his mistakes. He'll just continually make the same mistakes over and over again. Well, Fred's owning his mistake and he's saying, this is what I should have done differently. And maybe he will do it differently because he's learned from it and stuff like that in the future, stuff like that. So let's see. G saying in 3 to 5 years, a lot of these superstars will be out of the league and the Raptors will still be young. This is so true. This is a long-term perspective that is very true. LeBron, Kevin Durant, these guys are going to be gone at a certain point, and there's going to be the next generation taking over. And some of our guys may be very integral parts of the next generation as superstars, stuff like that. We know Pascal's getting to new levels with his game. Scottie, Precious, the sky's the limit. We're going to have to see what happens. Mason Culligan, good morning. Raptor Freak, Mason Culligan. Hey, Raptors Freak, Roth loss. We had them most of the night. I was traveling last night, didn't catch most of the game. You guys are lucky. Guys, that's awesome, Lex. Happy for you. Awesome. Yeah. That's too bad you didn't watch the game. But hey, if you guys were out Friday night and you missed this game last night, you could have missed worse games. So this is it is what it is. Catch up on the highlights if you feel like it and watch it and see some of the cool stuff that happened. Scottie had some really cool like highlights as far as the things he was doing. So check that out at least, Mason. And the performance by Pascal, absolutely fantastic. Absolutely. Tom Duke saying, shh, about 420. Yeah, shh, don't tell many people about what I told y'all about earlier in the stream. I just wanted the real ones to know. That's right. Lolita saying, it's only the second game. We have a lot of young players. They need more time to learn and gel together. I remembered OG or Boucher says it took him about 2 to 3 years to understand the Raptors schemes. Yeah, it takes a little while, but people like Scottie and Delano, they're very adept and fast and quick at learning and stuff like that. But yeah, it's the second game of the season. There's a little bit of conditioning. There's a little bit of working things out and just kind of figuring out how it's going to go and stuff like that. Yeah. Mason saying UFC on Raptors Freak Life is good. Awesome. Awesome. Mason, thumbs up to you. Nameless saying, love how Nick went to bat for Coloco last night. Refs sold us out in the fourth, but it's our fault because Brooklyn is at home and the refs left it on the table for us. We didn't take it. We had our opportunities. There were many different things that could have gone different ways that could have helped us. Less turnovers because of traveling calls. That's 4 turnovers right there just from travel calls. That's the referee forcing turnovers on us in the middle of the game. Think about it that way. A travel call is really that. I mean, I know it's their fault for traveling, but dudes travel all the time in this league and they don't call it. That's what I'm saying. When travel calls are used, they're fishy. They're very fishy. They're very fishy. G saying Kyrie did travel with no call. Yeah, see? He traveled a few times. I saw them. I think even Kevin was traveling at different times, and they didn't do anything about it, stuff like that. So it is what it is. We know what we have to overcome. We have to be that good. We have to be that perfect and to overcome everything we have to, and stuff like that. Kareem Thomas saying, fucking fantasy basketball has my emotions all fucked up. How the fuck am I supposed to cheer for my beloved Raptors while having Durant on my fantasy? Anyways, it's always fuck Brooklyn. Masai voice. Awesome, Kareem Thomas. Yeah, this is why I specifically avoid drafting players on teams that I hate. Like, I will not have any Nets, any Celtics, any Sixers on my team for the most part. I don't like having any Lakers. I really do stay away from teams when I draft in the fantasy just because of this reason. Is that I don't like having any kind of like little bit of wanting to root for them. Well, you know what? You look at it this way, Kareem Thomas. We lost last night, but hey, you had a good fantasy night. You got to look at the bright side of everything and stuff like that. So you had Durant, so you collected his stats at least. So, but I totally know that between like what you're feeling right now. G saying OG is horribly officiated. He gets smacked all game with no calls. OG is like mini Shaq. It really is that way. He can take so much punishment and do things like he's so strong too. He's like in some ways in the league one of the closest to Shaq. The way he gets called because Shaq got fouled every single time he had the ball, but he's so strong and big that it didn't matter. They are treating him a little bit like Shaq. And I hate it because it's not fair to him because he's not Shaq. He does not have the size that Shaq has. He may have a little bit of similar strength, but I'm sure he's not as strong as Shaq was. But still, it's not fair. And in some ways, maybe that's why Scottie being so vocal and talking to the refs and politicking with them is smart because OG has not done that. And maybe over his career, over the 5 years or so that he's been in the league now, he should have had more respect. And if he had been talking about it more with the referees, maybe he would be a little further along with his respect. Like as far as Pascal talks to them, he's getting a little bit more respect. Scottie's doing it now. So hopefully he'll get the respect earlier in his career and not be like OG 5 years in and stuff like that. That's what I'm saying. So maybe Scottie pleading his case to the refs is actually smart because OG didn't do it. And this is what we see with him. I hate it, and it's too bad. But OG's OG, and he is great because he doesn't even. In some ways, he doesn't get like he's unflappable about it. He knows he's getting screwed over, but it's like he's unflappable about it. He's awesome. Monique saying Savannah Hamilton did good for her first reporting on Sportsnet. Yeah, you can tell she's nervous, a little bit of flubbing words and stuff like that. She's not the most clean and concise and crisp speaker, but she's getting better. She's going to get a lot better and stuff like that. I'm excited to see her there and stuff like that. And that's the thing. She's got to understand that like she's really got to be dialed in and concentrating when she's interviewing these people because she's in a spot duty that's very quick and it's on live TV and there's no double takes. There's no 2 takes, Savannah. So you need to have clean and be good and get that interview clean with the player. And you can't get starstruck. I could tell you're a little starstruck with some of the interview in some ways and stuff like that when you're talking to them and at times like that. But, she did a really good job for having her first game ever as a sideline reporter last night. And she's going to get better. She's going to get better. But, yeah, not a bad rookie debut by Savannah Hamilton. Proud of you for getting that job. Yeah. Kareem Thomas has a secret crush on Savannah Hamilton. Don't tell my wife, though. I think there's a lot of people that have crushes on her. And they may not just be viewers. There may be some players that have crushes on her. I don't know. Who knows? Tom Duke's laughing about it. Love eyes. Lolita's saying the bench must play regardless, win or lose. We need them for the playoffs. Overused starters will be a bad take like last season. Yes, that's the lesson we learned last year, Nick. Learn that lesson and use it. You're not learning as quick as Scottie Barnes does. You need to learn as quick as he does and learn that this is the issue right here. She is exactly right. Lolita is saying win or lose, these bench guys need to get their fair pie share. They need to get their share of the minutes. And you didn't do that last night. And there's all kinds of reasons why that was a mistake, whether it's the back-to-back, whether the way we lost, the way we didn't overpower them with our overall depth and energy throughout the game last night. We could have done that, but no, we had tired players in the second half because you overused the starters. Yeah. Monique saying 905 tickets are officially on sale now. Awesome. Go see 905 if you're in Mississauga area. Real easy to get down there and go support the 905. This is going to be some exciting basketball this season with Christian Coloco running the show down there. Look out. You want to see Coloco up close? Go to Mississauga. You'll see him there. G saying the game was so close, so I see why Nurse did what he did as well. But yeah, staggering bench is definitely a good solution. Well, he doesn't need to do it at the end of the game. This is the thing. He needs to do it right away in the third quarter. Like I said, 2 minutes into the third quarter, sub. 3 minutes into the third quarter, sub. Don't wait 8 minutes into the third quarter to sub. What are you doing, Nick? That's way too long. And by the halfway period, they're absolutely gassed. In some ways, their gas tank isn't good for the end of the game situations after that. So stagger them in the third at least into the early part of the fourth. You want to play the starters heavy for the last 5 minutes. They'll be more ready then. That's pre-planning and thinking about it. Third quarter isn't when you need to put them out there like that. That's crazy, especially when they're flat and they're letting them come back on us anyway. Go get Precious and let him be a bundle of energy. Get Christian out there to stop the bleeding real quick. Monique saying 905-minute Instagram post to make David Johnson, Reggie Perry, Obadiah Newell welcoming them back. Yes, good to see David Johnson's face there, Reggie Perry's face, and Obadiah Newell. I'm telling you, this 905 team's stacked, and we need to win that 905 championship with a Christian Coloco MVP season. That's what I want to see. Seymour Pape saying, I'm confused how we lost last night. Seymour is a couple different things. Referees, Nick Nurse, not getting to Kevin and Kyrie correctly near the end of the game, stuff like that. Seymour saying moved into a new spot, got brick walls, so no punching for me this season. This is probably good, Seymour. Yeah, don't punch. Like I said, get that pillow last year. If you want to punch someone, just get a pillow. Get a couch pillow, or get a stuffed bear or beaver, and just punch that during the game. Just punch that a little bit. Punch. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait, is that you, Justin? Oh, I'm sorry, Justin. Oh, sorry. All right. Anyway. A Kareem Harry Canary Thomas. I like that. Harry Canary. I'm afraid of our team spending this weekend in Miami. What's with this bullshit home and home game against the same team? I know. And this is the thing. Why can't we have today off and play the games back to back Monday and Sunday? Like if we were playing the game tomorrow instead of tonight, I'd be much happier. They'd have a travel day and they could play the game Sunday night and Monday night. Then they're going to have the whole day off tomorrow. So I'm hoping that Nick Nurse does a really good practice session with them tomorrow, and that is what they do all day. And we talked about this a bit. I really hope that there isn't any kind of weird thing that happens because they have a long layover in South Beach this weekend. I really, really do hope. Summer Lowe saying, how did you feel about Precious's performance so far? He's not shooting well so far this season, but I really like his energy and his aggressiveness, and his defense is fantastic. We've seen him guard smaller players, guards even, and he's doing okay. I didn't like, I've been saying this already, Summer. I know you just showed up. Nick Nurse should have played him more in the second half. He messed up not playing more of the bench. And this is a broken record of me today. I'm saying that Nick Nurse screwed up by overplaying the starters in the third quarter, tiring them out, and not integrating the bench players early enough in the second half. That was his biggest faux pas of the game. And the refs didn't help, obviously, with their bias calling in certain ways and stuff like that. Seymour saying Nets and Pistons are teams I really want to beat this season. Bragging rights, for sure. For sure. Yeah. Yeah, we got some get back to get on the Nets now. And obviously, we want to beat the Pistons when we play them this year, especially with Philly, too, Lex, back to back. Those games here are better. Like the games with Philly next week are better because they're here in Toronto. And they'll just be here at home, and that's nice because they can be at OVO all day next Thursday and stuff like that. So I don't have a problem with our back-to-back when it's home. It's when it's on the road, and it's Miami. That's the other thing. It's a whole weekend in Miami. They got tonight, they got Sunday night, and then they got to play on Monday night. So that's the stuff I don't like. So we did our reaction to the game last night. We're going to kind of transition into the preview for tonight now. Just real quick, 3 stars for last night. Pascal Siakam, obviously the first star for his great triple-double performance. One of the best, greatest performances by a Raptor in a single game ever in some ways. We should say that. Fred Van Vleet, second star for his leadership and threes, waking up late in the game. Very efficient score last night, doing what Freddie does. And then third star, Scottie Barnes, showing a little bit more new tricks out of his bag, little fun layups and different things like that. And he was very solid. He played very well in a lot of ways last night. So that's how I feel about that. Then, yeah, we talked about Open Gym. We talked about Kevin and Kyrie post-game interviews and also the ref manipulation of last night. All right, so let's get into tonight. The injury report for tonight is very much this. For the Raptors right now, it's still Otto Porter Jr. is out. Chris Boucher is day-to-day. We may see Chris Boucher tonight, guys. Honestly, I'm really feeling like he's going to either show up tonight or Monday. They've guaranteed he will be back this weekend. So maybe Chris is ready tonight, and that could really help us in some of the things we needed last night off the bench. So Chris hopefully can play tonight. He's day-to-day, 50-50. And then Otto's out. But nobody else is out for us for tonight. Just those 2 names on the list. And for Miami, they've got Victor Oladipo is out. I don't think he's playing, but he is day-to-day. So he could show up, but I don't think he will play today. And then Omer Yurtseven is also day-to-day for them as well for Miami. So they have a couple of injuries. Nobody majorly key. Now, looking at this Miami roster, once again, I feel like they're very undersized. And it is very interesting how they've lost the first 2 games of their season to Chicago and Boston. Those are good teams, though. And they're playing at a very high level right now, both of them. Now, the crazy thing with the Chicago-Miami game earlier this week was that Miami was absolutely kicking Chicago's ass, and they came back. And DeMar DeRozan was a big part of it. Kyle Lowry has not looked totally sharp so far this season, and they're starting a small lineup. They have Bam at center, and then they're playing at forward Martin and Jimmy Butler. Those guys are both really kind of small forwards. So Jimmy Butler's playing power forward for them right now. And Caleb Martin is their small forward. So they have a small lineup. Now, one of the Achilles heels for the Miami Heat is Max Strus. Strus is a horrible, horrible defensive guard off the bench. And in fact, he's been a key part of why they've lost the last couple games. That he is a horrible defender, and his plus minus shows it. So when Strus is in the game, even though he makes some threes and stuff, he is somebody that needs to be bullied and like taken apart by our team on our offensive end. That he absolutely is a weak spot on their roster for being able to be scored on. So we need to go after Max Strus tonight whenever he's in the game. And like I said, their starting lineup with having Bam with Jimmy and Caleb Martin, that's a small lineup. We should be bullying them. You know, Jimmy's not a good person to post up, but Caleb Martin definitely is. So let's post Caleb Martin. Let's post up Max Strus when he comes in, and let's bully them a bit. And like I said, Nick, you played them heavy minutes last night. Let's even it out a little bit more with the bench tonight and get it more across the board together and stuff like that. So yeah. All right, let's see. Tom Duke saying keys to victory, mascot matchup. I am pumped. Tom Duke is pumped. He's on open gym. Monique saying Fred interview after the game was very telling to me for some reason. Well, he took accountability for his mistakes in the game last night. And that's great because he had a great game, but he pointed out where they messed up. And they don't like losing. It's like Pascal said, oh, it's great I had the triple-double, but I hate that we lost. He really hated that. That's what he said after the game. All right, so there's the injury report. Basically, now let's do. We did the ref report already, actually, so I don't really need to do that. Once again, Tyler Ford, Jacyn Goble, and Suyash Mehta are our three refs. They're an inexperienced crew, not like the one last night. We had two 30-year vets. We have everybody's under 10 years that's refereeing us tonight, so that will be interesting too to see if like they're really bad because there's not a lot of experience in this ref crew that we got tonight. So we'll have to see. All right, let's do it. Here's the real mascot matchup. The last time we saw the Raptor mascot, he's in a hospital, or so we think. He's in a bed in a place, and there's a nurse tending to him, and she's very cavalier attitude and being not very nice to him. In fact, they're not telling him what's wrong with him. He's in this hospital, and they're kind of laughing at him while they're also kind of also keeping him, like taking care of him and stuff, and kind of telling him he's a second-class citizen, this nurse, the cavalier nurse, and then the head nurse, Annette. Well, this Annette woman is even worse than the cavalier nurse. She is an absolute bee, y'all. And what she does is basically she's like, you know, Raptor, we don't really like you asking so many questions. As a Raptor, you are a second-class citizen in this world, the NBA world, and we don't like that you are upset that you aren't getting the right treatment that you deserve in our hospital here. Annette, yeah, she's having a real cocky attitude. And the Raptors like, what am I going to do? Like, he doesn't even realize he's strapped to the bed. And they kind of got him like misery. Like, you know, James Caan, Kathy Bates is really bad. Like this is kind of a horror story in some ways. So he's in this bed. And Annette's like, you know, we're going to punish you for how you've talked to us, your back talk. We don't want your back talk. This is like really bad. This is like Saw shit, something like that. So anyway, she's like, you'll find out real quick. And she leaves the room. Like they leave the room and like they close the door. And he can see there's a little window in the door. And he finally notices that the walls of the room that he's in are wooden. He's wondering about that. He's like, what the hell is this room I'm in? And like all of a sudden he feels like he's sweating. He's like, why am I sweating so much? And it's like, what's going on here? All of a sudden it dawns on him. He's in a sauna. They have him in a sauna in a hospital bed in this room. And they cranked up the heat on him. What's going to happen? There's your cliffhanger. What's going to happen to the Raptor? He's got this heat on him in this room now, in this sauna room. Yeah, I don't know. This may be very sketchy with 2 times heat. We'll find out next time. Real mascot matchup. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Logical's here. Salute. Just woke up. Yeah, yeah. Morning is over. Logical. Yes. Good morning, sir. I drank more after the game. Oh, logical. Ooh, yeah. Well, some people do that to deal with issues when losses and stuff like that. I just watched Open Gym and got the vibes immaculate again. But watching Open Gym, although I felt sad seeing DJ Wilson in that episode talking about things with the team and stuff like that. And they at the end they say special thanks to Josh Jackson, Gabe Brown, and DJ Wilson. Did you guys know that DJ Wilson's really salty towards us since he left? He actually, I think he really hates Canada at this point. When he flew out of Canada after getting cut from our team, Air Canada lost 4 of his luggage. And he posted it all over Twitter saying, like, don't ever fly Air Canada. It's a garbage airline. They lost 4 of my pieces of luggage. Like, I feel bad for the kid, but he's salty towards us. And I don't know if he'll land on another team, but he definitely might have that DJ Augustin kind of get back kind of feeling to him in the years to come. Because I don't think he liked how we did him raw. But I don't know if he's good enough to make a team and do any damage against us at this point. So it's very interesting. DJ hates Canada at this point. We're going to say that. And I think the Wisconsin people are right behind him. It's like, yeah, you should never went up there and been around us anyways, what they've been saying to him. But yeah, he's dumping on Air Canada since. I mean, he's not far off. Air Canada can be absolute shite. So I'm kind of on his side and stuff like that. Let's see. Tom Duke saying Electro Raptor can handle the heat. We'll have to find out. I mean, that sauna can be very dangerous, especially when he can't get out of there and he's in a bed. It's like, Logic saying it was my day off. I started drinking at like 4 p.m. All right. I don't celebrate that kind of lifestyle. Just so you know, I'm in AA and I don't condone people drinking in excess or like having hangovers or things like that. So, live your life, but don't bring it in here. If you want to go on drinking adventures and stuff like that, it's like, it's not the space for it because I'm very anti-alcohol. And I'm not very proud of you for that. Let's just put it that way. Monique saying, remember how when fans were staying, Pascal was a top 5 player. Now what? Yeah. Yeah. He is looking very much like a top 5 player after the first 2 games. For sure. For sure. No problem, Logical. Do your life. But it's like, I don't need to hear about it. That's your life. You can keep that to yourself. I'm not going to be proud of you for that. In fact, I'll tell you, don't do that. That's the worst time to drink is when you're sad and depressed. Because it's a depressant. It makes you feel even worse. Believe me, I know. I was a professional alcoholic, and I know every side of the misery and the pain and the legalities and the different things you can do to yourself. When you're in a Florida jail in a holding cell with a Hulk Hogan lookalike in his underwear who got arrested in a Burger King drive-through, you start questioning your life and your life decisions because you're in a jail cell with a Hulk Hogan lookalike in Florida who got arrested in his underwear in a Burger King drive-thru. Yeah, that's a real story from my life. That did happen. I was like, well, my life is a little out of control. All right, let's keep going. We've done the real mascot matchup. I guess we'll just do keys to victory and we'll wrap it up. Maybe we'll get done before 2 hours. So listen, this is a tough game tonight. We're playing on their home court. They have not traveled this year yet. Miami has played 2 home games already. This will be their 3rd home game in a row. So they've already got the home vibes, already been working on them, and they haven't had to travel anywhere. We had to go to Brooklyn. Now we have to go straight to Miami. And also they have 2 Miami refs in this game tonight. So there is a lot of stuff that looks bad for us. I don't like that Nick Nurse went heavy on our starters with minutes last night. That's not boding well for tonight. So hopefully he will play the bench way more today because that's what we need to see. So please, Nick, if we have one key to the victory, play your bench tonight. Actually utilize them and use them effectively. Use people like Delano. Use people like Juancho Hernan-Gomez. Use people like Coloco in spots and places that they will be helpful. Don't go away from them in the second half. Use them throughout the whole game. Thad Young only playing in the first half. I don't understand that. Why wouldn't you give Thad Young a second shift in the second half and stuff like that? So please use your bench. And this is the thing with Miami. We know that the games against Miami last year were very much pound, drag them out, beat them up kind of games. And like we had crazy triple overtime game and all kinds of really close shit with them. It could very well be like that again this year, but I don't think they're as good as they were last year. And their 0-2 start shows this. So we need to keep pushing them down and messing up their confidence by making them 0-3 tonight. So there's a lot of good reasons why we want to win tonight. I'm sure Scottie wants to beat them because there's people at the game that he loves, friends and family that are coming to watch him play. So he wants to win in Miami when he plays there because his family's there probably watching and stuff like that. So we really do need to take this game seriously. Watch out for the refs tonight and just do as best as we can and win. We just want to win. I don't care if it's ugly. I don't care how it happens. We just got to make sure we're on the winning end at the end of the game. We'll say hi to Kyle, and hopefully Kyle will be a little ineffective and maybe look like a little shit. And maybe hopefully the fans of the Miami Heat will be still saying they want him bought out at the end of the game and stuff like that. I don't know. But we don't want to give too many of these Eastern teams that are opponents of ours good feelings. Like we gave the Nets last night. They're feeling good now. They did not feel good after New Orleans, and they had a lot to feel depressed about. And now they feel like they have something to build off of because they beat us last night. I don't like that. We don't need to give that kind of feeling to Miami right now. Now, we're going to play them twice. And in some ways, I told myself, we're going to play Miami twice. That's 50-50. If we get one of these games, I'll be happy. Now, if we can get both of them, I'll be overjoyed. If we get neither of them, I will be upset. So this is really how I'm looking at this 2-game set in South Beach this weekend. Get both of them. So I'll be overjoyed, Raptors. If you get one of them, it'll be okay. But if we lose both of them, I'm going to be pissed. Let's just put it that way, because that'll mean we're 1-3 to start the season, and that is no good. We do not want that. No, we don't. No, we don't. Monique's saying this is a game where I think of Kyle's mom too much. Yeah, it's tough for Marie Holloway. That she loves the Raptors so much. It's just how she just been for like a good part of the last 15 years. Is she's loved the Raptors a lot because that's where her son played. She can't switch those emotions off. She loves Fred. She loves Pascal. And the Raptors very much are her favorite team in a lot of ways. It's just that she has to root for Miami because Kyle's there now. But she is torn when this game happens. This matchup, the Heat versus the Raptors happens. I feel bad for Marie Holloway and having to diversify her cheering between Kyle and us and stuff like that. Because she really does cheer for us when Kyle's not involved and stuff like that. Logical saying, not gonna lie, Boucher in that game with our other power forward, Otto, would have made a difference. OG needs to speed up. He's decision making when he's attacking. I like both those points, Mike. I think you're right. We were talking about this earlier, that if Chris Boucher had been added into the mix last night, how it would have changed. And the one thing I really think would have happened was he would have neutralized Nicholas Claxton a little bit better. The Claxton became a problem in the second half. And he's way better than he was last year. Like, he's grown in this offseason, and he's annoying because I don't want them to have this kind of long player that can do all these kind of annoying things that he was doing last night. But I think Boucher would have neutralized him better than Koloko. And that's one of the things we were saying earlier. I don't know what Otto would have done to help us. He probably would have helped us. But also in the same token, he's still trying to figure things out with us. And that would have been kind of a tough debut for him. We kind of want him to debut with a cream puff. So it can be real easy for him to kind of get into sync with us without no problem, stuff like that. Now, as far as the OG stuff that you're saying there, OG once again was very more focused on the defensive end in the first half, and he was starting to find his offense in the second half. And I have no problem with OG what he did last night. He's a slow, methodical thinker. He's kind of a plotter. He's not really that swift. In some ways, he can be swift, and he does have some speed, but in some ways, that's not really who he is. He's a bull. And he's very methodical and stuff like that. And that doesn't help if the referees aren't going to give him calls because he's slow and there's going to be contact. And he probably should get to the foul line more than he does. But we'll see. I don't even know if he has a gear that can get up and go that quicker in what you're saying as far as speeding up. He speeds up to go get the blocks. But I don't see him he's very slow. The way he generates the energy to go up is very different. It's weird. Let's see. Logical saying we were missing defensive rotations with special Simmons coverage and not calling out the driving. Yeah, I know that. I don't understand why they were doubling down on Ben Simmons and stuff like that. Leave him. Just leave him. Don't double down on Ben. You don't have to go see him like that. He's not proven himself coming back yet. in any kind of way. So I thought that was a dumb mistake too, doubling down on Simmons and leaving outside shooters open. And there were a couple of other things that they were doing. Like I really like how they were they were fouling the shit out of Claxton and Sharp, because those guys are horrible free throw shooters. And that was exactly the right strategy, as far as like, don't let them have anything easy near the basket, put them on the line. And that may be part of the reason why the Nets got way more free throw attempts than we did. That was a huge difference in the game last night. They had, let's see, how many free throw attempts did they get? They got 29 free throw attempts. We only got 18. That's 11 more extra points that they had in a chance to get over us. And they had a +8 on the free throw line, 20-12. We missed 6. They missed 9. So we shot better, but we still could have shot way better at the free throw line. But they were definitely getting more attempts. And that bugs me. That bugs me, because we were being aggressive too. And there were free throws that we were cheated of that could have helped that difference and stuff like that. All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining me this morning for this reaction to the Brooklyn game last night. Too bad it was a loss. There were some good things to look at and point to and stuff like that. Scottie Barnes showing more fun, interesting stuff. Pascal Siakam being a master of the triple-double and doing what he did last night. Very, 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 very incredible, honestly. And Pascal's going to be like, he's going to get up there with Kyle as far as like most triple doubles for the Raptors franchise. Watch, he's going to start accumulating them this season. A lot of them. I could see this with Pascal coming a lot, stuff like that. Logical saying the refs weren't the worst, but they gave the Nets more calls. Yeah, the two things I was talking about were the travel calls, Mike. That travel call right away on OG by James Capers set the tone. And then, the challenge overturns, the one with Kyrie Irving and the screen with Scottie Barnes, that was a very crucial call that was not good for us. And then, there was obviously a foul on OG when he had that lay-in and the breakaway, that he got swiped. And it was so blatantly obvious. And that they didn't give him that extra free throw was bullshit. So those are the little manipulative ways that it's not totally fair. And the referees did help them. As far as 4 travel calls in the whole game, they had 4 travel calls. How fucking often does an NBA team get 4 travel calls in an NBA game? Yeah, not very often. Yeah. So anyway, it wasn't the best crew for us. We're 0-4 under Donica Mosher now. So hopefully we'll have a better record under Suyash Mehta tonight. So Suyash Mehta. Anyways, guys, thanks again for being here. Love all y'all. Have a great Saturday afternoon, 8:00 p.m. Miami Heat game, and we'll react tomorrow morning, of course, as normal, 9:30 a.m. tomorrow morning. Have a great day, Raptor freaks, and be proud of your team. Watch the new open gym and see Scottie Barnes coming out of the bus with Tom Duke behind him. Tom Duke made his open gym debut. You go, Tom Duke. He's in the new episode. I love it. Y'all have a great day, and let's go. Please subscribe. Raptors!